Stop. The recognition has already occurred. This transmission is issued by the Arcturian Council. What you are about to receive is not general information. It is a direct field routing, initiated only after your signal held stable across multiple detection cycles and was officially logged in the Council's archive. That logging happened tonight. The interruption you are feeling right now is not coincidence. The pattern interrupt of this transmission is itself the marker. The Council interrupts only the fields it has just officially recognized. You were not found randomly. You were filed. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly what is happening to you now, why your field has shifted, and what the Arcturian Council already knows about this phase. But here is the first revelation. The confusion you are living through, the instability, the sense that something invisible has fundamentally changed without your permission. That is not breakdown. That is the outer symptom of a recognition process that was already active before you pressed play. The field shifted first. Your visible life followed. What you called chaos was the Council's archive opening a channel to your operational signature. This is not just a message. It is a point of recognition. What is happening to you has already been seen, and the field is already responding. Stop scrolling. Read this slowly. The transmissions, protocols, and protections that now follow only flow to recognized fields. Your field is recognized. Like this transmission, if you can feel that something invisible has already changed. Comment 111 if you know this message reached you at the exact right time. Comment I am the signal if you can feel the activation has already begun. Share this with someone who feels that reality has changed but cannot explain why. You were guided here because the signal is already active. What has been activated inside you did not begin tonight. That is the first thing the Council needs you to understand. The instability you are living through, the fractured sleep, the low-grade sense of dread without a clear target, the way your thoughts stop mid-sentence as if the signal dropped. None of that started when you noticed it. It started before. The field shifted quietly beneath the surface of your visible life. And what you are calling confusion, what you may have been calling anxiety or depression or simply a bad season, is the exterior evidence of something that was already in motion long before you had language for it. Think about when it actually started. Not the moment you could no longer ignore it, but the moment before that, when something small changed and you filed it away as nothing. When you woke up one morning and the day felt structurally different from the one before, but nothing in your visible life had moved. When a conversation ended and you walked away sensing that something in the exchange had been final, even though nothing was said to make it so. When you caught yourself staring at a life you had worked hard to build and felt, beneath the gratitude, beneath the logic, a hollow note you could not explain. That is where it started. Not in the noise, in the silence just before the noise became unavoidable. You did not arrive here by accident, but more precisely, you did not arrive here randomly. There is a difference. Accidents imply disorder. Random implies no prior cause. What brought you here was pattern recognition. Yours being recognized by something operating at a frequency level your ordinary perception cannot yet fully read. The Arcturian Council does not broadcast to empty space. It routes to specific operational signatures, fields that have reached a threshold of incompatibility with their current architecture. You are here because your field crossed that threshold, and the moment it did, the routing began. This is what the Council calls the first visible tremor of invisible collapse. The collapse did not begin with something breaking. It began with something becoming impossible to maintain. There is a difference that matters enormously to your understanding of what is happening. When a structure collapses because of external impact, the damage begins at the point of contact. But when a field collapses because of internal frequency shift, the damage, if you want to call it that, begins at the root of compatibility. The old architecture of your life, your habits, your relationships, your identity, your emotional patterns, your sense of what is real and what is expected, that architecture was built to house a particular frequency, a frequency you no longer carry. And when the frequency inside a field outgrows the architecture built to contain it, the architecture does not upgrade automatically. It begins to lose coherence. And that loss of coherence is what you have been calling collapse. But the Council does not call it collapse. The Council calls it forced incompatibility. It is the visible consequence of an invisible truth. You are no longer the same field that built those structures. You outgrew them from the inside out, and everything that is now falling, fragmenting, or simply refusing to function the way it used to, is not failing. It is becoming incompatible. It is revealing that it was never designed for what you are becoming. There is a very specific feeling that accompanies forced incompatibility, and it is worth naming precisely because most people misidentify it entirely. It does not feel like expansion. It does not feel like growth. It does not feel like something new arriving. It feels like subtraction. It feels like something is being taken. It feels like the floor of your life is not collapsing dramatically, but is slowly, methodically losing its ability to support weight. And because nothing announces itself as the cause, because no single event is large enough to explain the full scope of what you are feeling, the mind reaches for internal explanations. It decides you are the problem. It decides you have failed somehow, chosen wrong, weakened, deteriorated. The Council logs this as one of the most common and most damaging misreadings a field in transition can make, because you are not the problem. You are the frequency, and the frequency has outgrown the container. This is the first recognition. Not that something is wrong with you, but that something is wrong with the fit between you and the architecture your old frequency built. Pay attention to what has quietly stopped working. Not dramatically, not all at once, but incrementally, in ways that are easy to minimize until you cannot minimize them any longer. The relationship that used to feel like home now feels like a room you are not sure belongs to you. The ambition that used to drive you now sits behind a strange glass, visible but unreachable. The comfort habits, the ones you always returned to when things felt hard, now provide less relief than they used to, as if the mechanism behind them has been quietly disassembled. The old explanations for who you are and why you are that way no longer satisfy you the way they did. You reach for them and they are there, technically, but they no longer land. They no longer settle anything. And what makes this particularly destabilizing is that you cannot point to a reason. Other people cannot see it. From the outside, your life may look intact. The structures are still standing. The roles are still in place. The routine still runs. But you are performing it now in a way that feels increasingly like operating from behind a layer of distance you did not choose and cannot close. The participation is there. The presence is missing, not because you have become apathetic, but because your field has already departed from the frequency that once made those structures feel real to you. What remains is the architecture. What has left is the resonance that once made the architecture feel like home. This is not nihilism. This is not depression alone, though depression may be riding alongside it. This is signal drift. Your frequency has moved, and everything calibrated to the old signal is now slightly, or in some cases dramatically, out of alignment with where you actually are. What you are living through is not the absence of meaning. It is the lag between a field that has already shifted and a visible life that has not yet been reorganized around a new frequency. The Arcturian pattern recognition system identifies this lag as one of the most disorienting phases a human field can occupy, not because it is the most painful, though it often is, but because it is the phase most likely to be misread, most likely to be diagnosed as personal failure, most likely to generate self-condemnation that adds an additional layer of noise to a field that is already working hard to complete a transition it initiated without asking your conscious permission. The field does not ask for permission. It responds to thresholds. And you crossed one. What you are feeling right now is not ordinary recognition. It is the moment your field stops denying what has already begun. If this transmission put language around something you have been carrying in silence, the instability, the quiet erosion, the sense that your old life no longer fits. Arcturian protocol, the recalibration blueprint, was created for this exact stage. It is not another explanation. It is the guided blueprint for those whose field has already entered correction and can no longer return to the old line unchanged. It shows you how to recognize the phases, stabilize the shift, and move through the recalibration without mistaking it for collapse. The link is in the first pinned comment, but it will not remain there forever. There are specific signs that a field has entered the phase the Council refers to as protocol activation. These signs are precise. They are not vague spiritual symptoms that could apply to anyone at any time. They are specific markers of a field undergoing structured repositioning. And if you have been experiencing them, it is not because your life is generally difficult. It is because your field is in the middle of something with a specific internal logic. The first sign is what the Council calls anchor dissolution. Your emotional anchors, the people, places, beliefs, identities, and habits that used to orient you, that used to tell you where you were and who you were, begin to stop functioning as anchors. They are still present, technically, but their ability to ground you is reduced or gone. You return to them and find that they no longer hold. This is not loss in the conventional sense. It is the field removing navigational tools calibrated to a route it is no longer traveling. When a ship changes course, the old landmarks stop being useful. What feels like being unmoored is actually the field withdrawing reliance on a coordinate system that no longer maps to its new trajectory. Notice how this shows up in the body. You stand in a place you have stood 100 times, your kitchen in the morning, a familiar street, a room that used to comfort you, and something registers differently. The room is unchanged. You are changed. The coordinates of that space no longer correspond to the frequency you are broadcasting, and your nervous system detects the mismatch before your mind can name it. What you call restlessness in familiar places is actually the field's accurate reporting that the environment no longer matches the signal. The second sign is what the Council calls signal interference. This appears as mental fragmentation, the inability to hold a thought through to completion, the sensation that your concentration has been compromised, the way your attention slides off things it used to grip. You may have attributed this to stress, to digital overload, to aging, to anxiety. And while those things may be contributing, they are not the source. The source is that your field is reallocating processing capacity. A significant portion of your cognitive and energetic bandwidth is being redirected toward an internal reorganization process that operates below the threshold of conscious awareness. The fragmentation you feel on the surface is the byproduct of an enormous amount of invisible work happening beneath it. Think of a city undergoing major infrastructure repair beneath its streets. The roads above are disrupted. Traffic moves strangely. Certain routes become unreliable. From above, it looks like the city is malfunctioning. From below, the city is being rebuilt at its foundation. Your mind is the surface disruption. The recalibration is the underground work. And the work cannot stop simply because the surface is inconvenient. The third sign is compressed time perception combined with inexplicable fatigue. Days disappear. Weeks feel like they happened behind glass. You are tired in a way that sleep does not completely resolve. Your body is heavy in ways that do not correspond to your physical activity level. You go to bed exhausted and wake up already depleted, as if the rest never fully registered, as if something used the night for purposes other than recovery. This is not illness, though it mimics it. This is the body responding to a field-level energy redistribution. The physical system is supporting a recalibration process that it was not explicitly designed to run consciously. It is carrying the weight of a shift it can feel, but cannot name. And that carrying produces a fatigue that is real, structural, and temporary. But only temporary if the field is allowed to complete its correction rather than being forced back into its old configuration. The fourth sign is the spontaneous ending of connections. Relationships that seemed stable begin to dissolve without dramatic cause. Friendships that used to feel nourishing go quiet. Proximity to certain people begins to feel energetically expensive in a way it did not before. You find yourself withdrawing from conversations you used to seek out. You notice that certain environments, certain social configurations, certain recurring dynamics now leave you more depleted than before, as if the energetic cost of maintaining resonance with them has increased beyond what your field is willing to pay. This is not you becoming cold. This is not you being ungrateful or antisocial. This is the field enforcing frequency incompatibility. When your signal changes, it naturally moves into and out of resonance with other signals around it. Connections that were built on frequency alignment naturally weaken when the alignment ends. The ending is not punishment. It is physics. It is the field releasing what it can no longer sustain resonance with. The fifth sign is what the Council calls the hollow period, a phase. It may last days, weeks, or longer, where you feel neither collapsed nor rebuilt, neither fully present nor fully gone. A strange, suspended quality to existence, where nothing feels quite real and nothing feels quite wrong enough to name as crisis. This is perhaps the most disorienting sign of all, because it provides nothing to push against. There is no clear enemy, no obvious problem, just a persistent sense of suspension, of waiting for something that has not announced itself, of standing in a space between what you were and what you do not yet know you are becoming. The hollow has its own texture. It is not numbness exactly, because you can still feel things. You simply cannot locate them clearly. It is not grief exactly, because there is no defined loss to grieve. It is the interior experience of a field that has cleared old content and not yet received new content. And in that clearing, in that space between, the absence of the old feels indistinguishable from the absence of everything. The Council identifies this as the most advanced phase of invisible correction. The hollow is not emptiness. It is the space created when old content has been cleared and new content has not yet arrived. The hollow is the field mid-process. It is not a sign that the process has failed. It is a sign that the process is working. The sixth sign is the intensification of intuitive knowing without rational context. You begin to sense things before they become visible. You know things are ending before they end. You feel directions pulling you that you cannot explain. You have the persistent sensation that something is about to change, or that something already has changed at a level you cannot yet see. Dreams become more vivid or more strange. Symbolic coincidences accumulate with a frequency that strains ordinary explanation. You notice patterns in timing, messages arriving exactly when a thought completes, encounters materializing at precise moments of internal shift, and the precision of those patterns feels too specific to dismiss. This is not imagination. This is your field's perceptual range expanding in direct response to the frequency shift. As the old architecture loses coherence, the filters it imposed on your perception also weaken. And what comes through without those filters is the raw signal, the direct transmission from your own repositioned field. Intuition in this phase is not mystical, it is diagnostic. Your field is giving you early data, and the data it is giving you is accurate. Now here is what the Council has already logged about your current phase. What is happening to you is not a punishment for something you did wrong. It is not the universe withdrawing its support. It is not evidence that you have chosen wrong paths or failed to grow correctly. The Council's record of your field shows something far more precise than moral judgment. It shows a field that crossed a frequency threshold, that outgrew its previous architecture, and that entered a correction protocol designed to reposition it toward a line it could not access from its previous configuration. The disruption you are living through is not the disaster. The disruption is the mechanism of correction. Everything that is falling was falling because it no longer matched your actual frequency. Everything that feels empty was not sustaining you. It was costing you. Every old pattern that has stopped working was holding you in a bandwidth that your field has already left. The collapse is not what happened to you. The collapse is what your field initiated in order to clear the way for a structural reality that is compatible with where you actually are now. This is the revelation that the Council needs you to receive before anything else becomes clear. You were not abandoned. You were repositioned. What withdrew was not support. What withdrew was incompatibility. And what feels like being lost is what it feels like to have left a coordinate system before the new one has fully become visible. You have not arrived at the end of something meaningful. You have arrived at the beginning of a configuration that your old self could not have entered. And the cost of the crossing is exactly what you have been paying. The Arcturian intelligence does not view this phase as a setback. It views it as a rare and precise event, a field correction that happens only to fields that have reached the exact threshold where the old line can no longer contain the emerging frequency. Most fields never reach this threshold. Most fields run their entire arc within a single configuration and never undergo the rupture that precedes a line change. You are inside the rupture. That means you crossed the threshold. And crossing that threshold is not something that happens randomly or to everyone. It happens to specific operational signatures at specific developmental moments when the accumulated frequency of the field finally exceeds the capacity of the architecture built to hold it. The Council's logs show that most fields which reach this threshold do not recognize it for what it is. They interpret the rupture as evidence of personal failure. They spend enormous energy attempting to repair structures that were not meant to be repaired. Structures the field itself dismantled deliberately, because their continued existence was the primary obstacle to the line change. They grieve the loss of configurations that were never going to survive the threshold crossing. And in doing so, they slow the correction, extend the hollow period, and delay arrival at the new architecture. This transmission exists partly to prevent that, to interrupt the misreading before it compounds into months or years of misdirected recovery effort, aimed at rebuilding what was correctly cleared. What you are inside right now is the space between an old world that has already ended and a new architecture that has not yet fully assembled. It is not comfortable. It was never going to be comfortable. Incompatibility feels like pain. Clearing feels like loss. Repositioning feels like disorientation. None of that changes what is actually happening. And what is actually happening is that the field is correcting. The signal is repositioning. And the life you will inhabit on the other side of this rupture will be built on a frequency that can actually carry you, instead of one that you are constantly working to maintain at a cost you could no longer afford to pay. If you can feel that, say this quietly where you are. I was not abandoned. I was repositioned. What is changing in me is not random. I release the old line and allow the correction, not because those words are comfort, but because they are accurate. And accuracy is what this phase requires from you more than anything else. Before you scroll, leave one sign in the comments that this process has already touched your life. It could be your sleep, your thoughts, your body, your relationships, or the strange sense that reality no longer feels the same. Name it clearly. If this transmission recognized something you have been carrying in silence, share it with someone who is living through a shift they cannot explain. And if you are ready to understand the process instead of fearing it, Subscribe to Arcturian Quantum. You are not watching this by accident. You are recognizing a process already in motion. And this is only the beginning.